Hello, it's an honor to sponsor Ragtrader Live. And today I'm going to be talking about range planning in the face of disruption. So I've been in fashion retail for a while now, but I've been in software engineering for a lot longer. I built my first web page in maybe 2001, and I was pushing the boundaries of web development even then. I've done quite a lot of sort of deep engineering around data science, predictive analytics, cryptography, privacy, internet protocols, and more recently at Style Arcade, where I built the majority of the IP that powers our platform from the ground up. But I've also spearheaded dozens of transformation projects, like major transformation projects from companies ranging from small nonprofits through to billion-dollar insurance giants. And on those projects, I was responsible not just for defining the future state of tech, but the future state of business. And something that really interests me is observing and influencing how businesses change and adapt over time, both proactively and reactively. So COVID has forced fashion retail to change, but why should we stop evolving? And can we turn strategies for survival into strategies for growth? But before we get into that, let's rewind to January 2020, before shit hit the fan. Everything was great in fashion retail at that point in time, right? Well, not if your range review looks anything like this picture here. It's absolute chaos. You've got this war room set up. There's reams of paper, fabric swatches, samples, empty coffee cups. Someone has, tried to lay out this pristine grid on the whiteboard with your styles and your order counts, and then someone else has scrawled all over it all the ways in which it's wrong and it needs to change. Everyone's calendars are absolutely full. They're all high on coffee and cake and just pushing shit up a hill trying to get this stuff done so that they can start being human again. Not a lot of fun. And I'm sure many of you have experienced this at least once in your life, and some of you I know experience this multiple times every year. Then shit really hit the fan. So we had retail closures. E-commerce became central to every business, including many store networks, where it became that thing we should do to, fuck, this is the only channel we have. And, so massive learning curves for businesses in that situation. There were huge dips in revenue and high headcount pressure, and remote work was completely incompatible with processes like what you saw on the previous slide. And in this environment, survival became king. When faced with danger, human instinct is to heighten the senses, drop anything that will slow them down, and make every step count. And the businesses that did well during this period did this really well. Now, at Style Arcade, I had the opportunity to work with a number of businesses through this period. And for the ones that did better, these are the conversations that I heard. We're guessing too often. We need to be backing every decision with data. We don't know when things will be locked down or how the market will change. We need to be able to rework the range in days, not weeks. These manual processes are slowing us down. We need software to do the grunt work. We're not in the office anymore and can't schedule 10-person meetings. We need to work asynchronously and online. Now, if these conversations were happening in your business last year during COVID, you're doing well. But let me let you in on a secret. The ones that really nailed it were already having these conversations, because if you follow this path, you're going to set yourself up for success no matter what the environment is. So, what is a blueprint for range planning success that we can draw from this? So there's three parts to it. First one, definitely the most boring, is automate. From there, you can empower your team, and finally, you can start to experiment. So step one, automation. Now, I've done countless process improvement projects, and it all starts in the same place. So how do we fix our process? Start by fixing your information. So you want one source of truth, you want all your information in the same place, and you want to give people line of sight on how their actions are impacting the business. And then more specifically to data science, which range planning, when it's done well, absolutely is, you want rapid scenario modeling. Now, what does that enable you to do? So easy answers enables better questions. If it takes you a week and a half to get an answer to a question, it takes you a week and a half to realize that your question actually sucks and you're missing a really important dimension of it. And you don't have time to then ask that question again. Whereas if it takes seconds or minutes to get an answer, you can iterate to version 10 of that question Not only that, the next time around, you go straight to version 10. So you're able to permanently level up your thinking. Now, easy visualization of impacts enables thinking like a business owner. If people understand how they're impacting business objectives and it's ever present in their workflow, then they're going to start thinking more about those business objectives. Easy collaboration enables better teamwork. And this is where your role as a CEO or head of buying becomes less like herding cats and more like knocking down barriers and enabling the team to self-organize. And finally, easy modeling enables experimentation, which we'll get onto next. But there's kind of an overarching theme here. And when you get people to do repetitive, complex, manual work, in order to succeed in doing that efficiently and accurately, they're grinding away neural pathways that are specialized to that task. And that's great from that particular lens, but when that happens, you become less flexible, more resistant to change. And also, if you're hiring, if you manage to land the best buyer in Sydney on your team, what are they going to be thinking about when they wake up? Is it going to be, I think we're missing something in our range. There's an opportunity in the market that we're not taking. Or are they thinking about, I think all my VLOOKUPs are broken in this Excel spreadsheet. And if you force your talented team to build the software that's missing from your business in Excel, that's going to be their focus. And by the way, I've been in software engineering for a really long time, and I have so many tools that help me manage complex software development. I know exactly how everything has changed, when and why, and who did it. I've got automated testing, so if I do something over here, it's not going to break something over there. I have component libraries, so I always have access to the best solution, and I'm not reinventing the wheel every time. And the fact that people are able to build such amazingly complex range plans in Excel without all of that just blows me away. But I do know what it's like, because when I started, 20 years ago, I didn't have these tools, and I would never go back. Now, once you get the automation and the empowerment nailed, you can then start to experiment. So the strategy here is you want to buy small batches, test the market, and back the winners. So you would never drop $200,000 on an untested marketing campaign. What you're going to do is set up 4 or 5 different variations and then roll in a few dollars. And then once you figure out which one really works, you roll in the rest of the cash. So why would you do things differently with your product? And in order to enable this, you really need 6-week repeats. This is the gold standard that we're seeing across the industry, that more and more, especially fast fashion, are moving towards. I understand not everyone can get there overnight, but it's definitely something to work towards. Trade-offs. So you do have lower margin on smaller initial orders, but you do get a higher overall margin. One, because you are rolling into the stuff that's really working, and you do get to take advantage of much bigger order sizes in that case, and you're doing fewer markdowns, far fewer markdowns. But you also have way more decisions to make, and you have to make them way faster. So you really have to nail those first 2 parts to move on to this point. But even in slower moving businesses, or if you're still on the journey of getting this done, as an alternative, and you should be doing this anyway, is focus on rapid testing and iteration of ideas before you buy. You want to be executing the best plan out of 20, not the best out of 1.5, because it takes 4 weeks to build it. So just some closing thoughts. Yeah, many fashion retailers in Australia are on the journey of implementing this blueprint. Some have already gone beyond it. And what's your next step in this journey? Now, thanks for your time, and I hope that I've inspired you to think about doing things a little differently.